Hello viewers, thank you so much for joining me on this channel. In today's video, I'll talk about listening subtest of OET. OET, or Occupational English Test, is an English language proficiency test designed specifically for healthcare occupations. OET has 4 subtests: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. In today's video, I'll talk about the listening subtest. I've made other videos talking about the reading subtest, the writing subtest, the speaking subtest. I've also compared OET with IELTS, and I've also described my strategy for passing OET in 25 days. I'll leave a link to all those videos in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into it. OET has a very transparent process in terms of assessment. However, the reading and listening subtest can be described as objective assessment, whereas the speaking and the writing subtests have subjective assessment. What do I mean by this? In the reading and the listening subtest, there are definite answers which are available to the examiner, and if your answer does not match with the answers available to the examiner, then you'll not get the mark. You'll be marked incorrect. So you have to be very careful in the listening and the reading subtests. While in the reading subtest, you have the option of reading the same text multiple times before you mark your answer. In the listening subtest, you get to hear the audio only once. So you have to be really careful in the listening subtest. Also, the listening subtest is the first subtest in your OET. So you're bound to be a little bit nervous. So it's a good idea to not be nervous and pay careful attention to the audio, because as I said, you'll only get to hear the audio once, and if you don't hear the audio carefully, you'll not be able to mark the correct option. You'll not be able to type the right answer. It's just not possible. It's all about listening to the audio carefully. With that out of the way, listening subtest consists of 3 parts: Part A, Part B, and Part C. In Part A, you'll be listening to a conversation between 2 people, and you'll have the transcript of the conversation available to you. This transcript will contain about 20 blanks. If you listen to the conversation carefully, you'll be able to type in or write in whatever the blank is. For example, if there is a conversation between a tennis player and an orthopedic surgeon, and in the course of the conversation, you notice a sentence saying, while I was playing tennis, I felt a pop in my right knee. That's what you hear on the audio, but the transcript says, while I was playing blank, I felt a pop in my right knee. So you have to write in tennis, or you have to type tennis. If you don't hear the audio carefully, you'll not be able to get to the right answer. Also, because you have the transcript available to you, it is a good idea to read the entire transcript before the audio starts playing. You'll get about 2 minutes to do this. That way you can anticipate which part of the communication you should be paying more careful attention to in order to be able to arrive at the right answer. In Part B, you get a set of 6 different conversations where you'll only get to hear the audio, and you'll have an option with you have a question with a few options available to you on the screen if you're taking OET on computer, or on the paper if you're taking OET on paper. So you have the question with options, and you get to hear 6 different extracts. Each extract will tell you what the answer is. So imagine there is a conversation between 2 nurses, and they decide to do something about a patient. The question will be, what did the nurses decide to do about the patient? And maybe one option is, they decided to move the patient to the operating theatre. They decided to increase the analgesic dose of the patient. They decided that the patient required reassurance. You'll know the right answer based on the audio. So you have to be very attentive when you are listening to the audio. Part C has 2 long lectures, and again you have the questions with the options available to you. Listen to the lecture carefully, and again read the questions first so you know which part of the lecture will have the questions, and there you have to pay more careful attention. So although it sounds difficult because you get to hear the audio only once, and it is probably going to be an accent that you're not familiar with, but the audio does not play at a very fast pace. It is playing at a steady pace. If you are paying attention, you should be able to get to the answer. It is not the most difficult subtest in OET. What was my strategy to secure the desired score in OET listening? I secured A grade, that is 450 out of 500 in listening subtest. What I did was I paid careful attention. It is very easy to let our attention drift away because most of the questions, frankly speaking, are easy. So the real challenge is to maintain your attention to the entire conversation. It will be like a 20-minute it might be a long conversation. I don't know the exact duration of the conversation, but it will be a long conversation, and you have to listen carefully to each of those conversations, to each sentence, to each word carefully. That is easier said than done. So you have to practice paying attention to a conversation. A good idea might be paying attention to what I am saying now. Maybe if you have a transcript of this conversation, introduce a few blanks, and then maybe you will not be able to understand what the right answer is if you are not paying careful attention to what I was saying. The good thing is that the speech that you'll hear, the audio that you will hear on the day of the exam will be absolutely clear. You will not have any distortion, you will not have any ambiguity in terms of what you are hearing. The speech will be very, very clear, and the pronunciation, all of that will be very, very clear. You will not have any issues on the technical front. So you have to pay careful attention when you're listening to the audio, and that will make your job very easy. Some cases you require a little bit of analysis, especially in listening part C, where maybe the speaker could be talking about something like the role of electronic medical records in modern practice, and some doctors may be against it, some doctors may be in favor of it. It may be a controversial issue that the lecture is on. So that requires a lot of analysis when you're listening to it. What is the author's opinion? What does the question want you to answer? So look at the question, look at specifically what the question is asking you, and then pay attention to the audio. So this requires a little bit of multitasking. You also have to read the question, understand the question while you are listening to the audio. So, and then you have to mark the options. So a little bit of multitasking is required. In all three parts of listening subtest, it's a good idea to read ahead, because if you read ahead, you can anticipate the questions, or you can anticipate the parts of the audio which involve the questions, so you can pay more attention to those parts of the audio than the other parts. So reading ahead is always a good idea. You'll get some time to read ahead when the transcript is available to you and when the questions are available to you as well. So even before the audio starts playing, please make it a habit to read ahead, and that will also make your job very easy. Listening subtest, as I mentioned earlier, is not the most difficult subtest in OET, but if you are attentive, if you can analyze what you are listening to, if you can multitask, and if you don't forget to read ahead, you will definitely do well in the listening subtest. If you want to practice, the listening sample tests are available on the official OET website. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I was able to add some clarity on how to prepare for the listening subtest in OET. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them to the best of my ability. Take care. I hope I'll see you again in the next video very soon.